Welcome, everyone, to the Screamcast. I am your host, Sean DeRager, and with me, as always, is Brad Henderson.
Surprised you didn't fuck up that beginning.
See, you just fucked it up just now. That was the fuck up right there.
No, I didn't stutter. I'm good.
All right, well, Brian Sauer, of course, is not with us today. Hopefully next episode we'll get his ass out of bed.
What do you mean, of course? Because, I mean, I hate Brian, too, but, I mean, it's like, of course Brian is lazy and he's not here with us today.
And he's not here to defend himself.
No,
but
so we can say whatever we want.
But yeah, he couldn't make it, and genuinely it kind of bums me out he can't be in every episode, but that's just the way it is. Sometimes we can't always get what we want.
Well, just so people know, like, Brian's not gone or anything like that, because this is like the third episode he hasn't been on or something, right?
Yeah, it kind of. This is the second episode in a row, but it kind of we try to make it every other, and it's one of those things.
Yeah,
he's a busy guy. He's got a family,
and plus there's three of us, and we all have different lives, so it's pretty much impossible. 3 people, if you don't know everyone, is a bitch to schedule, especially when there's a guest.
Yeah. So thanks for sticking with us.
Nightmare.
And Brad's been doing all the scheduling. So everyone, wish I had my sound effects. Everyone give Brad a round of applause or a hand job, either or. So next time you see Brad, just reach down and give him a quick hand job, and that'll be his thanks for all the work he does on the show.
It's the best day ever.
Well, we have a very special guest with us today. We'll get to him in a second, but we wanted to get through some Blu-ray announcements first.
Do you like what you see?
I love what I see.
Would you like to touch what you see?
Yes, I
would. Turn this over to you. I'll turn this train wreck right over to you.
Thank you, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. On September 9th, Prom Night was announced by Synapse. People like to say Synapse. I say Synapse, but no big deal.
No, I say Synapse.
September 9th.
Synapse.
Synapse.
Potato.
But Prom Night, yeah, that's pretty exciting. That's one of my favorite slashers. Of course, Jamie Lee Curtis is in that.
Yep. It's
kind of I think everybody has seen Prom Night. It's just nice to finally get that on a decent package.
It's going to replace my Echo Bridge DVD.
Oh, I got rid of that long ago. I couldn't take it.
It's not good.
Take it. Yeah, poor Echo Bridge. There's a Monster Pack. Recently had like a Universal released a like the Wolfman, Dracula, all that kind of stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. But there's a new one coming out. I'm believing that you can buy them individually or also in the pack, but they're being re-released. But more monster movies are putting into there. I think some of the sequels to them, kind of like what the Legacy Collection.
Yeah, I was just gonna say those discs were pretty awesome.
Cool. Yeah, those were cool. So they're kind of doing something like that, and not everything that was in the Legacy is in this. However, but I mean, of course, Universal holds all these rights, and they're not going to let them out of their sight. And they do put together a good package. So, if you're into old monster movies and you want to replace that box set, because that first box set was kind of cheap, but really nice package. So that's coming out along on September 9th with Graduation Day, Seizure, Willow Creek, and Pumpkinhead. So that's going to be quite the big day. Also, the next week. Scorpion releasing announced just kind of I believe it's a Roger Corman flick. It's not a horror film, but it's called Avalanche. I actually haven't seen that, but I'm always down to watch anything Scorpion releasing puts down. But that's also with a slew of other titles we've been going. I think the whole month of September is just insane.
Basically, my wife is going to be super pissed.
Yeah, so I'm going to flat out say this in the beginning. You guys, anybody listening to this show and actually, listens to our Blu-ray announcement, September is going to be nuts.
Save your cash now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Like on the 23rd, we have Leprechaun box set, Halloween box set, and the Exorcist box set, all coming out on September 23rd, which is kind of cool because it gets us ready for, Halloween. But Scorpion releasing moved up Killer Fish. Killer Fish is going to be on the 23rd, and also releasing an action movie, Bloody Mama. Those two are being released on September 23rd.
Wow.
Scream Factory announced they're releasing the first season of Hemlock Grove on October 7th. We'll just leave that one alone.
I have no opinions. I have no opinions on that. I haven't watched it just because of the negative feedback.
Yeah, I mean,
that I heard about the thing, but people just say, I think they just say it's boring, right? I mean, have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes, I think it was. Maybe I watched part of the third. It's just not for me. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say it's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, some people like it.
Yeah, it's not my thing. But if you are into shit like True Blood and, kind of like the dramatic monster love story type things, this might appeal to you. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. I'm not a fan of Hemlock Grove at all. It's kind of cool that Scream Factory's putting it out because everything deserves to be released. I guess if you're going to release anything, I mean, Hemlock Grove, I guess, is okay by Scream. Whatever. Well,
that was a Netflix original, right? Series that was created and
Eli Roth's behind it. We're going to get into that later.
Yeah. Which is weird because I wasn't sure who was really releasing those on Blu-ray. I know they released House of Cards on Blu-ray. I'm not sure what company handled that. But I guess I just assumed that Netflix was doing it, but I guess you have to have some sort of distribution company.
Well, I guess they produce them and then that's it. And then they'll sell the rights for distro. That's what I'm guessing how it works. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Well, to me, it looks as an easy thing for Scream Factory to come in and say, hey, we're going to release this and start a relationship with Eli Roth. And that's kind of, if you look at it from a business perspective and, not necessarily PR type thing, but just to start a relationship, it seems like a good way for them to jump in, with him, which is totally fine. I mean, people get weird, just like Michael Bay and, what are some other Zack Snyder, like those directors, like Eli Roth, for some reason on the horror community, has just been one of those directors that just receives just a ton of shit, almost for no reason. I mean, he loves the genre. He's a horror nut. And, some of his stuff is a hit or miss. But I don't understand, and maybe you can help me, maybe why, but I just don't understand the kind of vitriol that gets thrown at him. Whenever his name is mentioned in some horror conversation, there's always somebody, who just kind of decides they're just going to shit all over him. Like,
I think I know where it's coming from. I don't accept it. But I definitely know, I'm going to go out on a limb, well, not a limb, but I'm going to say that I kind of think I know where it's coming from. I mean, first Eli Roth came on the scene with, Cabin Fever, which was fun. Everybody enjoyed that. I mean, it was kind of a throwback, horror film. He did Hostel and Hostel 2, which got, a lot of negativity from the community, not horror community, but just people, because it was too gory.
I think it was kind of everyone was just torture porned out.
Yeah, it's just there. I mean, I actually really love Hostel 2. I don't have a problem with it, but I think the hate started whenever Eli Roth started acting. I think that's kind of when people, especially when he was in Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards, and people just didn't like him. And I honestly think it comes from people being successful, to be honest with you. It seems that when these people maybe branch out and do something Hollywood or anything like that, they start to get this negative vibes and, this old saying of people selling out,
right.
Kind of like when a punk band would do a music video for MTV. Oh, they sold out.
Oh, Green Day.
Well,
damn you, Green Day.
It's just one of those things where anybody, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're sitting there and Tarantino comes up to you and asks you to be in your movie, you're going to take it.
Yeah.
And especially Eli Roth being a film nut. I mean, he probably grew up, he's not super young, but I mean, he was watching Tarantino films before he was popular, before he was, making movies. So I'm sure at some point Eli Roth really, really liked Tarantino and still does, of course.
Yeah.
But Tarantino asked him to be in a movie and he took it.
What are you going to say? No?
Yeah.
Tarantino comes up to you. What are you going to say? Oh, fuck off. I'm too punk rock to be in your movie. That would be selling out.
And, more negativity come along whenever he was in a film called Aftershock, which I really wasn't a big fan of at all.
I liked probably 60 to 75% of
it's
that
great
movie.
until the earthquake hits.
Yeah, and then there's one scene in there in particular that I was like, I just got too ugly, over something that could have been a fun kind of genre thing. It just got too real, so.
But I know that the negativity came from that. And then Green Inferno came out, and I know a lot of shit went down because apparently, this is what people say and what was said, is that he took the villagers that were actually in the movie, because of course they're not actors, and actually showed them Cannibal Holocaust. And they've never seen a movie before. And the first thing you're going to show them is Cannibal Holocaust. That's not a really good idea, just because of culture and respect and everything like that. I just thought that was kind of silly at the most part. But I know a lot of people took offense to that pretty personally, or took it personal. And I think that kind of carried over into how Green Inferno isn't actually that good at all. I'm did not like Green Inferno whatsoever, but I'm also not on this bandwagon of hating Eli Roth, because who gives a shit, man? People make, I'm not saying don't go see Green Inferno, of course, but to me personally, that movie isn't good. It was a complete miss for him. I see what he was trying to do, but I just think he failed at that. But I still fucking love Eli Roth. I mean, if he makes another movie tomorrow, I'm still going to see it. I still like Cabin Fever. I still like the Hostel films. I don't mind him in movies acting. He's actually kind of funny at times. Just because I don't like one of his movies, or, don't agree with what he's done, I'm not going to fucking jump on this bandwagon. And especially since we're on this subject, Scream Factory released a picture of them giving Eli Roth an abundance of titles from Scream Factory. And just looking through the comments on their Facebook page and looking on Twitter, people are like violently upset about this.
Yeah, it was I was just talking with somebody about this the other day, and it's almost like people have like a sense of entitlement or something, you know what I mean? Like almost to it's maddening to someone like me, because I never expect anything for free, and it's like if you want something, you get off your ass, you make the money, you earn it. I mean, I don't get any screeners at all for the show, and the whole reason for starting up the show wasn't to get free shit. It was just because, look, I'm spending my hard-earned money on these titles anyway. I like doing podcasts. It would be kind of a fun thing to get some people together that know more about this shit than I do and do a podcast. That was the whole motivator. I may never get any screeners or anything, and that's totally fine. I have made it so I can afford every single title that Scream Factory is releasing, and I budgeted out to be able to get them when they come out. I just don't understand this kind of like people were like just saying stuff like, I should come in and do a commentary so I get some free stuff, or, he should have just done it for free and not got anything.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that really pisses me off, and excuse me if I actually have some harsh language coming up here, but I'm very passionate about this kind of thing. For you motherfuckers that say that, oh, I'll come in and do a commentary for free shit. Bitch, you don't need to come in for a commentary. We don't need you. Scream Factory doesn't need you to bitch and talk about. That's what we're here for too. Like, they're not going to fucking ask us to come in and do a commentary. No one wants you to come in and do a commentary. All right? So buy your shit and watch it and support them. No one wants to hear your opinions on a movie. Or, I'm sorry, this is coming a little hostile here. Hostile. But and another thing is that, Eli Roth should have done it for free. Fucker, he did it for free. Scream Factory said he did it for free. Mm-hmm. They gave the movies as saying a simple thank you. And then people pointed out that there were slipcovers on the fucking movies. Shut the fuck up about cardboard.
You want some slipcovers? I got some for sale, people, if you want to pay me for them.
Fucking slipcovers. Okay, you like slipcovers, that's fine. I'm not fucking hitting on anybody or cracking on anybody that likes slipcovers. That's fine. But if you're going to sit and bitch on fucking social media about how Eli Roth has slipcovers, you need to reevaluate your life. Reevaluate the things that you actually care about. Scream Factory probably has countless titles of theirs they released because Cliff and Jeff deserve to hold on to plenty of copies of whatever they want, and they give it away as prizes or thank yous when somebody comes in the fucking studio.
Yep.
So you know what? If fucking Eli Roth gets a slipcover of The Fog, who really gives a shit? What have you done? Eli Roth has made movies. He's created a partnership with Scream Factory. You don't think that 1 ounce of fucking cardboard is just enough to say thank you or some titles? Get off your high horse and just fucking give up on social media if that's all you're going to do is negativity, because we just had a podcast on negativity, and this is almost as like perfect timing that these people, and it's not a shit ton, it's not thousands, but it's a select few. And I tell you, man, when you go through and you read, because this is what happens, you scroll through and you see all the awesome, that's so cool of Eli Roth, good job Scream Factory, can't wait for this, but you scroll through quickly because you can read it.
Yeah.
But then you get fucking paragraphs of negativity, and that's what stops. And that's what you really notice, and that's kind of sucks. So all the people that are supporting it, good for you, and keep it up. But you, oh man, there was one guy on there. I'd call him out if I knew his name, but just whatever. I'm done.
It's crazy how this played into our conversation with Justin, and it was like almost the perfect example. For some reason, certain people just can't be happy for other people. And if you've worked in any sort of industry, like the music industry or the film industry, I used to work in the clothing industry, and we were kind of like a skate lifestyle clothing or whatever you call it, right? So we would have bands kind of come through on tour, and if they were a band that we knew had a pretty good following, and if they're on their way to a big show, like, it was a Christian band, so there's a thing called Spirit West Coast, right? That would be like just thousands of kids, and this band would be on stage. We'd have them come into our warehouse and give them a plastic bag and say, knock yourselves out, go find go find any shirt you like. There's no limit, just go and grab some clothes. That is kind of like industry standard.
Yeah, it's like a big surprise. Like, you don't think that these other people that come in and do commentaries for Scream, they don't get paid, or they maybe not get free shit.
Yeah, it's a gesture, but it's also like a marketing strategy, because you know that they're going to be telling other people about the free shit they got, which is fine. And same thing with the music industry. The bands that I've worked for had a box of just giveaway stuff. The record labels have a box of giveaway stuff. That they have it specifically to put in the hands of people that are going to help spread the word. And of course, if you're Scream Factory and you have Eli Roth come through, or like Shout Factory had oh god, what's his name? Directed Nosferatu.
Klaus Kinski?
No, directed.
Oh, that was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Damn it.
God. Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog.
Oh god, I feel bad now.
See people, I'm not an encyclopedia of information here. That's why I have Brad on the show.
That's why I am.
Seriously, that's why I'm glad that Brad and when Brian is on, I'm glad they're on the show, because I'm just a dumb shit sometimes. Werner Herzog, I guarantee you, when he came to Shout Factory to sign those limited copies that people had pre-ordered, he wasn't getting paid to do that. He was coming in to sign these copies for people. I guarantee you they gave him a stack of stuff.
Yeah,
so
same thing with Clive Barker, and it's every right for they fucking started this. They're the pioneers of Scream Factory. They can do, and it's Shout Factory, Scream, Shout. They can do whatever they want. It's their business.
Yeah, bottom line is they can do whatever the hell they want,
Yeah, so just shut up. Like, it doesn't matter, man. It really doesn't matter what they do with their own product or money. And plus, they're giving you Hemlock Grove if you want to see it. They're giving you Nosferatu. They're giving you all these titles. So, are you really going to sit back and just nitpick at the stuff that you don't like? Just keep it. I mean, plus it's just a personal opinion. It's just a comment.
Yeah.
And freedom of speech. That's fine. You can say whatever the hell you want. But just hold back on the negativity. Like like if you're going to say something negative, try to be constructive with it,
right?
Or actually have it make a valid point. There's no valid point of when you say only rich people get free shit. That's just a negative, just hurtful comment.
Yeah.
That doesn't benefit anybody. That's not constructive. So I'm all about freedom of speech. I'd be more than happy to hear, and if you have a negative comment about it that is actually constructive or actually serves a purpose, then I would love to hear it. But I just don't want to hear you live in your mom's basement and just, oh my God, I'm not getting free Scream Factory titles because I buy every single release. So does everybody else.
Yeah.
You're not entitled to free shit.
Nope.
And just because it's Scream Factory, what about everything else that you buy? I have to go to the grocery store, the same grocery store for the past few years, and I buy all their shit. And now they do a canned food drive for kids and give shit for free, or for the homeless. Do you see me outside bitching? Oh my God, I spend $100, $200 here every week, and you don't give me free shit. Only poor people get free shit. No, I don't, because it's their company, and it's nice what they're doing, and it's a nice gesture. There's a thing it's called a simple, nice gesture. Yeah. That's all it is.
I mean, if Eli Roth was posting a picture going, "Hey motherfuckers, look at the shit I got for free, screw all of you," then you have a right to be upset.
If he was being super negative about it, or like throw it in your face, and just taking off the slip covers and burning them, and then posting on Facebook, then maybe, I'll let you say what you are, I'll say that. I'll let you say that. And that's fine, just because, more or less, that would probably be really funny and hilarious. But, anyways, just right. This plays into exactly what we were talking about. And, just think before you speak or type.
Yeah, totally. Let's be positive. Like I said, I used to be a negative ninny on Twitter a couple years back. And I changed that shit up as soon as I kind of realized. People even, pulled me aside and were like, "Dude, shut the hell up." So I get it. And I totally get the want, you want to kind of just spout something off and be like, "Oh, God damn it." And it all kind of boils down to just, being jealous or whatever. We're
not saying that you can't have any negative comments whatsoever.
No, Jesus. I mean, if someone's being if something's happened and it's totally legit, there's things to legitimately complain about.
Too legit to quit.
Too legit to quit. But, when you're nitpicking over BS, it's
I'll call myself out. I'm going to call myself out.
Oh, Brad,
right
you're
now.
never negative. What are you talking about?
Whatever. But just the other day, I tweeted about. I said something about Code Red because I simply said, I like that Code Red exists. I like the movies they put out, but I would really prefer if other companies would put them out, because they are just taking the negative and putting it on a disc and then shipping it out. There's no effort in the releases or anything like that. And that's just a valid negative comment. I'm not saying that, Code Red sucks. I'm not saying that, oh my God, everybody that's associated with Code Red must die. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just simply stating, I said that because I actually had somebody said, weren't you just negative the other day about Code Red? Well, I was, but I also didn't do a hate rant
Right.
or anything like that. I just simply stated that if a movie that's important to me, like we'll take, for example, Savage Streets. Savage Streets was a good-looking release as far as video quality goes, but there were no special features on that. And that's one of those titles that you could have.
Yeah.
Easy. And it kind of sucked because that was an important movie to me. And, I kind of wish that maybe Scorpion releasing, maybe picked that up and released it. Because I know that they would probably pack on special. And Linnea, damn it. I just pulled your Seanism. But anyways, whatever. I'm done.
But yeah, hey,
let's talk about Nightbreed.
We all do it. Oh, Jesus.
I think Nightbreed kind of, there wasn't much, just the price, but I think if anybody, we'll simply say this about Nightbreed and move on, is that Nightbreed, they had to grab from the Warner vaults, and this is, I think, probably their first Warner movie. And if you know anything about Warner Brothers and releasing and sub-licensing movies, it's not going to be cheap.
Let's just say they're all in debt. They all owe their firstborn child to Warner Brothers now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't cheap, and that's I think that factors into the reasoning.
Yeah, I think So when's that scheduled to come out? Is that October? It's October. The pre-releases, if you bought the first 1,000, those are going to ship October 14th.
Yeah.
Which is my birthday, people. If you want to, send me some PayPal money. I'm just kidding.
That's also the day the Blob and fucking Audrey Rose come out.
Hey, it's my birthday, everybody. I'm entitled to free shit. Come on.
I actually have another Blu-ray announcement on that day.
Oh.
That I'm actually really stoked about.
Cool. Well, let's finish up Nightbreed here, though.
Did you just cut me off about Nightbreed?
Yeah. They're releasing two versions. Two versions. The limited edition, which is the $80 version, and then a $24 just the director's cut. It was the Cabal cut. They're now just calling it the director's cut because they found the original film elements. They put it all together. Supposedly, they finally gave us, because the Cabal cut had spliced in like VHS, quality footage. They actually found film and they edited that in, which is, I think, a gift to all Nightbreed fans. So if you want just that, if you don't want to spend $80, there's that option. So there is special features on that disc, the director's cut. There is some exclusive special features on the limited edition, plus the theatrical. And if you're like me, I like having both the theatrical and the director's cut in my package. So, but still, you're paying an extra, in my package, you're paying an extra $30 to own just the theatrical version and some exclusive, special features. So, hopefully, I'm kind of waiting to see if they put it on Amazon like they did the Halloween set, which will kind of cut the price down, maybe about $20. But, I'm on the fence.
There's like 4,000 or 5,000 more that are the limited edition.
I would say, I own the DVD, but I sold the DVD because I was excited about the Blu-ray. So now I don't even have the theatrical cut at all. So either way, I'm screwed. Either way, I'm going to be chalking up some money. Yeah. So
I have another thing that you might be chalking up money for.
Ah, damn you.
And I don't agree with this tactic that they're doing because I own all the films in this box set aside from one, and it's the first time it's on Blu-ray, but it's in a big ass set, and I'm kind of I'm really hoping that they split these up and it gets its own single release. But a Spielberg box set is coming out, and Duel is in there.
Oh God,
and I own all the Spielberg movies on Blu-ray, and this is kind of a big thing for me. Duel is one of my favorite, horror films. I think it's a horror film, but I like films involving cars and cross-country trips and stuff like that. And there's shit going down, and Duel's always been a favorite of mine. And I think I'll be forking over the money for Duel on Blu-ray.
Wow, that'll be a pricey one.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm saying that each one will probably be between $7 and $10 on Blu-ray. So, and I think there's 7 films, so it's going to be running about maybe $60, $70, maybe even more.
Wow. All right.
we'll see.
All right. Well, we got to get to our special guest. We've rambled about these Blu-ray releases for some time, so let's go ahead and take a musical break here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to Macon Blair.
We are talking about the monkey's paw.
Yeah, that's right. Talking about the monkey's paw today.
What's the musical guest, Sean?
I don't freaking know. That's what I'm looking up right now. I was like, oh, now would be a good time for me to do that.
Let me pick one. I'm serious.
Is the typo negative?
No, actually it's not. I actually found this band by accident because I was looking up horror movie soundtracks.
Oh shit, you're serious?
Yeah.
Seriously got a band? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I think this would be okay.
And Brad's pulling an audible.
Yeah, so I was searching for horror soundtracks, and there's a film with John Saxon called Miami Horror, and I really, really liked the soundtrack in that movie. The movie's not that great, but I typed in Miami Horror, and then I saw this thing pop out. I'm like, oh shit, they have it. But then I realized there's a band called Miami Horror, and I was like, okay, so maybe this is like horror music or something, or maybe some kind of like synthesizers, goblin, Giallo's Flame type thing. And it's not. It's like new wave dance music. And I played it and I was like, holy shit, this is really good. So the song I would like to play is by a band called Miami Horror. It's off a EP called Moda Volume 1, and the song is called I Look to You. Sweet. And I really, really hope you enjoy this.
Awesome. Let's play that right now. You're listening to the Screamcast. That was Miami Horror with the song I Look to You, featuring Kimbra. I never knew that song existed, so Brad pulling something out of his ass, which is actually good. So, that's awesome. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, people. Thank you.
That was a compliment.
Thank you.
All right. Well, today we're talking The Monkey's Paw, one of the first, another contemporary release from Scream Factory. And we got a very special guest with us today. Very excited to talk to him. I first got sight of him in the movie Murder Party, and he was one of my favorites in that flick. We have Macon Blair on the show with us today.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
No problem. I wanted to jump in first and talk about Blue Ruin, which is it's coming out on Blu-ray in July.
Yes.
And it's out on video demand right now, and I think I want to say some theatrical releases.
I can't really keep up with the main theatrical was April. I think there may be more though, but yeah. Okay.
Well, the reason why I wanted to bring it up first, because when I talked, because Brad was the one that really introduced me to Blue Ruin, and you had brought it up during one of the shows, and
we've been talking about it for a little while, because we bring it up, even though this is, kind of a Scream Factory podcast, horror movie podcast. Yeah. Well, I mean, mainly because of Murder Party. That's where it all came from, the film that you guys did beforehand. And I saw that randomly somehow. I forget how. And I just fucking cracked up.
Nobody ever sees Murder Party deliberately. People only ever see it.
I saw it accidentally too.
Yeah, no. You don't seek it out. It falls into your lap accidentally, and you're either bummed about that or you're not. But
yeah, I remember watching it, and I, cracked up, and I told, I actually had, I hosted a movie night at my house, and many people would come to this, and had 10 or 12 at a time, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking show Murder Party, and I screened it, and fucking people cracked up, and it was I cherished it still, but for a while, and then I was just waiting for something else from you guys, and it kind of everything kind of died down a little bit, and then when everything was announced at Fantastic Fest, I saw the description, and I saw Murder Party in parentheses when it had Jeremy's name or whatever, and talking about you guys, and I was like, what? And I was clicked on it. I was like, is this a horror film? And I'm like, what's this, fucking drama? What's going on here? And, I was just blind. I was like, all right. And because I had a couple buddies that saw it, I guess, at another festival. And they said, Brad, seriously, this is you're the horror fanatic guy, but trust me, the dramas that you like, this is going to be the film that you love. And I fucking watched it, and I was just blown away. And I you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, but that's talent though, because you guys did Murder Party and Blue Ruin, two completely different things, but both outstanding in different genres. So, yeah, if you guys haven't seen Blue Ruin, you need to see that shit. Stat.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. That was totally the strategy, was that, and you mentioned the big gap of time between the two, and that was the reason for it, was that, you know, we had hoped that Murder Party was going to sort of get us a career going, and it just, you know, for a variety of reasons didn't work out. Turns out it's a lot harder than we had imagined it to be. So yeah, it took a while we had several other movies we were trying to get off the ground, and finally, because, you know, nobody knows who I am, nobody knows who Jeremy is, we just had to, we were having a hard time getting the outside funding. So we had to do another really small self-contained thing that could be, for the most part, self-funded. And the idea was like, look, the last time if we did this goofy comedy, and that sort of pigeonholed us, and that was, you know, the only sort of offers that we were getting to do, we very deliberately wanted to do the opposite of that, something really stark and kind of mysterious and grown up, you know, quote unquote grown up. To, you know, if in fact this was going to be our last chance to try and get us jobs in the future, we needed to sort of deliberately distance ourselves from the first movie. So that was why.
Well, Blue Ruin is an attention getter for sure. I mean, I know it knocked me for a loop when I saw it the other day for the first time, and you know, so it's you know, I'm still thinking about it. It's one of those movies. I mean, a lot like when I saw the movie Cheap Thrills. You know, it's a movie that stays with you, and it always only seems to happen with kind of more independently funded movies. You know, there's just an extra layer with these movies that kind of resonates, I think, with a person like myself. So no, it was fantastic. And Brad, you said that it hit you emotionally, and I wanted to. Yeah. I mean, if you don't mind, like what? Because it didn't hit me. It didn't hit me emotionally. It hit me on a lot of levels. Like, wow, what would I do in that situation? Like, you know. But what was it about Blue Ruin that kind of really resonated with you? Well, if you don't mind getting a little bit personal.
No. It's fine. I'm completely. Everybody knows I'm super open about shit. No, it's nothing like personal at all. Like to me, it was just, we're presented with Dwight's character, and of course he's homeless. And if anybody has any sympathy or humanity, you kind of, you know, you feel for those for that, you know, society basically now. And you know, you could tell that he isn't homeless because of stupid mistakes. You can tell he's homeless because of different reasons. Now, the reasons might be unknown, and they are, but you can tell just by the certain things he's doing, especially just his stack of books, and he's reading, and he's drinking tea. It's just certain things about that where there was a lot of pain set in because he's hiding. That's what it feels like. And you know, when you have a character that's hiding from society, it seems there's a lot more to it. So I immediately connected with that character, because we're not having a guy who, you know, made a bunch of fucking gambling mistakes, or he lost his, you know, entire family to, you know, sleeping with another woman. We don't have any kind of stupid bullshit like that. We have a real person, and that's why I think it affected me so much, because everything in the film is 100% real. There's nothing out there that makes it feel like, you know, because Dwight's character, he's badass in a way, but he's not. He's, you know, a complete bumbling, like, and there's so many sces, Dwight's with his sister in the diner. It was just something really about that, because, like, you really, like, as far as an actor goes, you showed every emotion possible just by the expression on your face without actually saying anything, because it's very minimal dialogue in that diner scene, but there's so much to be said just by how you react and your facial expressions, and it was just you could feel the pain, for me at least, and I think that's what really hit me the most on something like that.
Thank you. That was a daunting, but by the end of the day, a really rewarding scene to work on. Amy Hargraves, who played my sister, is amazing, and just when you're working with somebody like that, it's true what they say. It sort of forces you to step up a little bit more. And as far as the dialogue, I think Jeremy is just clever like that, where he or his instincts or sounds at least, where he feels like, you know, if these are two characters that have a history together, they're not going to talk about things that they wouldn't talk about for the benefit of the audience. You know, they just like all the history between them is known, so they don't need to discuss any of it. So they can just have small talk about what they're doing in that moment, like the sandwich they're eating or whatever, because everything else, they would have no reason to say it to each other. And audiences are smart enough and savvy enough and have seen enough movies that they can totally fill in the gaps on their own.
Yeah, and I'm glad that something like that happens too, because, you know, when we sit down, we have a bunch of exposition for you know, whatever reason. Like you said, just by looking at two characters looking at one another.
Yeah, totally, I agree.
I was going to say when he's talking to Buzz from Home Alone, but there's so many scenes where he's just like, I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I just need you to listen to me, and I don't know. And there's like so many things where you're just like, he's completely clueless to what he's doing, but he's just following what he thinks is right. And it just reminds me of people in situations like that in films when there's something going on, you know, an event. They come up with a plan in 15 minutes. In the last 30 minutes of the movie, the plan goes completely through. Like from high scale apocalyptic sci-fi movies to, you know, just running guns to dramas. Like, people figure out plans and they work out. You can actually see the plan formulating in this film, and you really don't know if anything is going to happen, because is this guy going to pull it off? Because he's just so sad and lonely, and honestly, he's just kind of pathetic at times. Not in a bad way, but he's pathetic because you just feel bad for him. Totally. And I don't know. It's just too much realism. I think that's why I was affected so emotionally, because it felt like I was watching, like, you know, a true life behind the scenes thing of, you know, this character, and is a huge character piece at the same time. Very much dialogue was needed to show what the pain was going. You know? Yeah, well,
that's. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
By all means, cut Brad off. Cut him off.
No. I was just going to co-sign what you said, which is that was part of Jeremy's whole concept. Was like, well, two things. First of all, like, what would a actual normal person who's not doesn't have this training and this background to be a badass, like you see in a lot of movie characters, what would they do in one of these situations where, like, bad guys are coming after them with guns, or you know, the thing that starts it off, like the whole idea of like the revenge fantasy of, like, I'm a good guy with a gun, and like how would that turn out in real life? In the fantasy, you go get the bad guys, then you're a hero, but in real life, would it not be kind of a disaster? And sort of exploring, like, all the things that could go wrong. And then the other thing too that you mentioned was that Jeremy's just really interested in inconvenience. And like you said, in movies, things are always very perfectly timed. And when the hero shows up for the confrontation, the bad guys are where they are meant to be so that they can have the confrontation. And that's cool. But, you know, we didn't have the budget for big shootouts and fireballs. So we had to sort of rely on our weaknesses, which is, you know, we don't have a badass Liam Neeson lead actor. So, like, what is that going to look like? And also, we'll wring story out of these inconveniences that come from real life. That, like, what if you show up for the confrontation with the bad guys and they're not home? And then you've got to sit around and wait for 2 days and get bored and occupy yourself, and the audience is going to get bored too. And it's just sort of like this weird detour. And he threw a lot of those in the movies of just in this movie of, like, just how, you know, real life does not line up neatly and concisely for narrative purposes. Yeah. It's kind of messy and all over the place. That was sort of his concept from the beginning.
And that's what brings all the tension, you know, and that's the one thing about Blue Ruin that I was thinking about afterwards was, I don't get tense in these big budget Liam Neeson movies. You know what I mean? Because they don't ring true. But if it's
nothing's gonna hurt him. I enjoy the big studio movies too to different
totally,
degrees.
yeah.
But it's like, but there is sort of a sense that nothing that bad can really happen to this guy because they want to have Taken 2 and 3. No harm, no foul. But in this one, if indeed there is tension, I think it comes from the fact that this guy is totally vulnerable to mistakes and damage, and he's totally out of his depth. In this particular story. So
I don't want to get too deep into Blue Ruin, but I want people to watch it and be surprised. But this is
trying to make this as spoiler free as possible.
But if you haven't seen Blue Ruin, I mean, definitely put this on your list. I know I've been recommending it. I mean, I saw it 2 days ago, and I've already recommended it to like 5 people, for them to check it out. And
thanks, guys. I appreciate that. There's some fun special features on the
cool. Good.
On the DVD too. Some missing scenes and a doc and stuff like that. So
awesome. Yeah, it's
gonna be pretty exciting.
I'm excited to own it, and watch it again. And this will be one that I'll revisit quite a bit, I think.
Cool.
Man, after Fantastic Fest, I was just like, I said, fuck. I was like, I just had that, I almost had anxiety because I was like, I need to see it again. And, then it's like, it's like April VOD, and I'm like, fuck. I was like, and it's just, and there's 2 things, spoiler free, of course, that really stuck with me. There's just one line. It's when you're with Buzz from Home Alone. That's what I'm going to call him. I can't recall his name.
Devin Rattray.
Okay, Devin. Yeah,
we were very lucky to get him
in front of him, and you're talking about guns, and like you said, in all action films, the hero has like the fucking minigun or the M16 with the grenade launcher. You just simply reply with nothing heavy.
Yeah.
And that line just stuck with me because that basically that line describes the character entirely. To where he's trying to be careful. He doesn't want to be a hero. He doesn't want anything complicated. He just wants something to basically protect himself and hopes that he can use it.
Yeah, and he's not confident in his ability to even wield these things. He doesn't know the first thing about them.
And it was just that thing, and the one probably not going to line because it's towards the end of the movie. But there's a line that said during the answering machine scene where one of the guys says something and he screams it, and I almost busted out in tears and flew up in my seat when he said it because I'm like, holy shit,
you knew what that meant.
Yeah, it's like that. That's like then you got to see something change in the movie completely. And it's a really defining moment, and that's the scene that I just wanted to see so bad again. When I rented it.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I keep cutting you off.
Oh no! I was going to say that's the one scene that drew me back to it. And as soon as I rented it, I actually fast forwarded to that scene to watch it, and then had my girlfriend come in, and I was like, "You got to watch this." And she's like, "I don't like horror films." And I'm like, "That's not all I watch, people."
I'm a well-rounded individual.
But yeah, so definitely check it out, guys, for sure.
Thank you. As I jumped on your words there, the guy who had that pivotal line in the last scene, that's Brent Worsner, and he's a buddy of mine, and I'm going to have lunch with him a little bit later today. So I'll pass along those kind words.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in that movie nails it 100%. Everybody's real, and that's what I really, really enjoyed most about it. So.
I wanted to ask you, Macon, and we'll move on. By the way, people, we'll be talking about the Monkey's Paw today, the Scream Factory release. Forgot to mention that.
That's actually what this is about.
Yeah, but we're talking to Macon Blair, and we're talking to Macon Blair, and we're off of the Blue Ruin high, so we'll be talking about that. But I wanted to ask you because you hear a lot of kind of Hollywood stars and stuff like that when they're put into a situation where they're on screen for most of the movie. And critics and everybody always make such a big deal, in I Am Legend or whatever, Will Smith is on screen for the first whatever, he carries the movie, blah, blah, blah. That's amazing, But just seeing you do it almost, and it seemed to come across effortless. It was the the performance was so nuanced and real. Is that something that would go through your mind? Like, holy shit, like I'm in almost every frame of this movie, or was it something that just because of budget necessity or budget reasons, it was just you and, a small crew and you didn't really think about it? What did that come across?
Yeah, well, I mean, I felt a tremendous amount of pressure for that because Jeremy and his wife, I mean, there was a Kickstarter campaign that resulted in about 10 or 15% of the total budget. The rest of it was Jeremy and his wife's savings and a 6-figure fucking American Express bill. So you hear about people like betting the farm or whatever. They literally bet their entire financial health on this movie. If it failed, then it's not a big leap to assume that the guy who's in every goddamn frame of the movie is a big part of why it failed. So I had a lot of sleep. I mean, seriously, like a lot of sleepless nights about it. But Jeremy and I have been friends since we were little kids. We had like worked really, really closely on this movie and had just we were really in sync on the character. So we felt like we had done all the prep that we could do. There was a certain amount of freedom in that because it was self-funded. It was like, look, even if this does fail, this is like the purest expression of like what he wants to do and what I would do at his behest. Nothing was sort of influenced by like notes from. There's no studio that was saying like, wait a minute, you can't take 10 minutes at the end and totally deflate all the tension and just have this guy wait in a room, which I don't, no spoilers, but whatever. It was a very direct line from Jeremy's brain to the screen. It was whether you like it or hate it, it was a very pure sort of expression, and that was exciting. And also, once I got over the sort of, if I ever did, or once I was able to suppress the terror of having that sort of responsibility on my shoulders, this is a huge gift for me. This is a huge opportunity. I do not get lead roles in movies, let alone lead roles that are as juicy and weird and fun as this. So on one hand, it's pressure. On the other hand, it's like, when am I going to get a chance to do something as cool as this again? So I was also very aware and grateful of that and kind of enjoying every moment of it because I knew that it was fleeting.
Right. Well, cool. I really hope it catapults, you into some more roles and stuff like that because, I really can't speak, I guess, more highly of this movie because for me, it's kind of a behemoth. Like, I feel like I won't see another really good movie, the rest of the year,
but thank you.
Well, that's just how I feel, because we watch so many movies, and when you kind of watch so many movies, a lot kind of falls by the wayside that would affect different things affect me than like a normal movie goer,
Yeah.
And this is such a juicy movie and has so much to chew on that, it's going to be hard to kind of top that for me. And I know Brad's the same. Like, this is Brad's top movie of 2013, right, Brad?
Yeah, I'm whatever I see that year, that's what I always put them top 10. I know it came out like theatrically, and
that's how I would do it too. Yeah,
it's just one of those things where I've very, very few movies hit me like that, and it was a film that I could not stop talking about or thinking about, and it's just like I recommend it to anybody that loves any genre. And I mean, it's one of those things where it's just a perfect little movie. Yeah. And I talk about it forever.
I appreciate that because obviously, I mean, we were very lucky. We got a really nice release from Radius, but even so, it's still a small movie. There are no stars, and so there's not ever going to be too much in the promotion budget. So it kind of lives and dies by word of mouth. And so you guys. Putting it on your show here and just talking about it to people person to person is, if it does well at all, that's the reason why. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're glad to do it, man. I'm glad to talk about it. And one thing too, it's also a movie I think that kind of blurs between genre lines. I think like this is the type of movie if my wife's in the mood, I think she would get a lot out of it. She doesn't like, she kind of movies affect her like on a personal level, like dramas especially. So. Depending on how the character, throughout the movie, like, this is dealing with, he had lost his parents and stuff like that. So, the characters. So, but it's one of those movies that I think I can recommend to someone who necessarily doesn't like horror, someone who likes action movies, or even someone who likes drama. This is one of those movies I think that can kind of hit many different people. So it's not just like, only horror fans will like this movie. And that's what I think is very exciting about it.
That's true. Yeah, we had hoped to sort of play in between the sort of in between the genres and take little pieces from each of them and do a little mix and match.
All right. Well, this week we are talking about a new contemporary release from Scream Factory, and for me personally, these contemporary releases have been hit or miss. Before this, probably my favorite was Beneath. I know for some people they liked Cockneys versus Zombies. I actually haven't seen that yet, so I can't really weigh in on it. But this week is The Monkey's Paw.
What is that? It's a monkey's paw. My daddy said it could take hold of a man's life. Move the pieces around. 3 boons, 3 good wishes. It's yours now.
You ready to go? I'm ready to go.
What?
The awful truth is, bad things happen all the time.
You see, Cobb? I'm sure he's fine. I wish you weren't dead.
I told you, I don't know what's going on.
Am I still dead?
We wanted to get Macon on the show because right there on the back of the box it says written by Macon Blair.
It says that.
So we gotta talk to you about this. I thought it was overall like a strong movie. How did you get involved with penning the script for this?
I sort of a convoluted turn of events. Basically, I believe I'm allowed to share this. I don't see why I wouldn't be, so I'll just go ahead and share it. Basically, I am friends with J.T. Petty. He's a director. He did Soft for Digging and The Burrowers, and recently he did Hellbenders. And he had
Sandman.
And Sandman, yes, exactly. And he's got a new one that he's working on right now that I can't talk about, but it's going to be the best. It's very cool, awesome. Very different. Anyways, he had been loosely attached to direct Monkey's Paw for the Chiller Network, and they had, they came to him with a very detailed story outline. They kind of knew what they wanted to do, which was they had this idea about taking classic American folk stories and kind of spinning them in a more contemporary kind of slasher movie type or horror movie type of way. And so they had a story outline that kind of took the basic myth of the monkey's paw. You get 3 wishes, but the wishes always turn out either hyper literally or in some way where the result of them is horrific, and then you try and dig yourself out of the results of that first wish with another wish. And they kind of had this idea that it was going to play out as sort of like a zombie slasher movie hybrid. Anyways, JT knew me because I'd written a bunch of spec scripts that he had read, and so he just suggested me to them as basically a contractor. Ultimately, JT was not able to do it. He just had too many other things lined up, and they got Brett Simmons to direct it, and he did a great job. But the short answer is I was kind of brought in just to take that outline that they had and just kind of flesh it out and build it up. So I got the full screenplay credit, but it would be disingenuous to say that it was all me. They had definitely done a lot of the heavy lifting before I even came on board.
Okay. Did when you saw it, did you see that the script had been changed quite a bit from what you had contributed, or did they stick to your script? I'm always interested in, like, as a writer, like how that works, like when you kind of view the final product,
Yeah, for the most part, it was, I'd say maybe 75% was the script, and then the things that were changed, they may have been editorial decisions, or they may have been, there was some, like the character that Charles Dutton played, I had written as a female detective, and that could just be a financial thing. They needed to get a certain actor, and I don't know. I wasn't privy to really any of the production stuff, and some of it may have just been like, we can't afford this particular set piece, so we have to do it a different way. Or it could have just been like, the director had a better idea, I think this is going to work better than what Macon wrote. And all of that is totally legit. It's so hard to get sort of a movie off the ground under the best of circumstances. And, you always have to sort of make compromises and work with what's available and unforeseen things, and also just be free to change things on the fly to try and make it better. Because what seems to work on the page, it does not always work in the best way when you're actually on set with actors and everything. So I don't begrudge anybody at all any changes they want to make. I was very grateful to have the job.
Cool. Brad, let's go and talk about our reactions of the movie itself. Brad, what did you think of The Monkey's Paw? Because I know that, like me, we've both been hit or miss on these contemporary releases. And
yeah, I mean, the contemporary releases have been, so like beneath. I mean, we talked about it. We have our opinions, and the whole thing with Cockneys versus Zombies. I saw that at Fantastic Fest as well, and it's okay. I'm a little burnt out on zombie comedy movies, but
are you?
Yeah, a little bit. So. When I went into it, I mean, I just went in, because I knew that Macon wrote it, so I knew at least some kind of connection because, with like Blue Ruin, Murder Party, and then one that JT Petty did that you mentioned was Hellbenders, which I enjoyed for the most part. It's just really funny, well written, more than anything. I dug that. But just going in kind of blind, when it started, like it really does feel like a really, really good lengthy Tales from the Crypt episode. That's kind of like how I, perceived it and everything. But
that's a good way to say it.
Yeah. One thing that really, did it for me was that there was a lot of character build up before we actually introduced the Monkey's Paw. Like, of course we have an intro, but we have a lot of things that we do need to know between characters, and good building of characters and character development beforehand. But yeah, I mean, long story short, that's what it felt like most to me was, like I said, a long decent Tales from the Crypt episode, which I really dug for the most part.
Cool.
Thanks. I don't have a lot of I had mentioned the other scripts that I'd written, and they were all kind of crime and kind of pulpy type things, that not a lot of horror in there. So I was definitely not. They did not take me on because they thought that I had some sort of horror knack. They had kind of already built the bones for that sort of stuff. If anything, I think they wanted me to kind of like flesh out the characters a little bit and kind of try to take this kind of off the wall premise and ground it as much as possible. And it's never going to be totally grounded because it's a magical monkey's paw, but you do the best you can.
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, the Monkey's Paw, it's always been kind of one of my favorite short stories. I've heard that. I mean, different versions of that story. I used to go to summer camp, and at least once a year, I think I would hear of some version of the Monkey's Paw, like sitting around a campfire, as a kid.
Of course.
And it's just a fantastic kind of like morality tale in a sense, and it's very
glad for what you've got.
Exactly. And it's very similar. Like, you can kind of see where, like Stephen King for Pet Sematary, totally drew from this story with Pet Sematary. And for all of its flaws, Pet Sematary is still one of my kind of favorite Stephen King adaptations. And it's just a story that, for some reason, that morality tale of wanting something you can't have and having that go wrong, horribly wrong, has always resonated with me.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. And so those things I really loved the idea of that, bringing that story into a contemporary setting. And for the most part, I feel like they kind of jettisoned a little bit of the morality tale to kind of go into the second, the final act being more of a slasher, zombie slasher. You know, they don't like using the word zombie. They said on the special features, but
yeah, I mean, it's not literally zombie, but you know, it's
right. Undead. Undead Stephen Lang. But yeah, I think with me, like Brad was saying, was the strongest elements, I think, of the Monkey's Paw are the first act with the character building. And, you know, but most of it with me was Stephen Lang. Like,
he's a monster.
Oh my gosh.
He nails that.
He took what was given to him and just elevated it to, you know, just levels that you probably couldn't have expected.
Absolutely not. I mean, Manhunter is one of my all-time favorites of all, like, top 5 even. And so I just heard roundabout that, you know, Freddie Lounds was going to be the villain, and that was exciting because I was like, oh well, he's a great actor. He's going to do a great job. But I really didn't think he was going to do that. I mean, it was so above and beyond, like you said, what was on the page. He was just it was just amazing. He was so great in that.
I mean, how old is Stephen Lang right now? I mean, he's what, like in his 60s?
Something like that, but he's built like he's in his 20s.
Yeah.
He's a maniac. I keep hearing that I don't know, for the X-Force movie that people are throwing his name around for cable, which would be absolutely perfect. I don't know if that's going to come to pass, but I hold my breath that it does.
Well, he elevates everything, and I can only imagine that on set he kind of helped the other actors, because the other actors are all okay, but I feel like they were almost just trying to keep up, you know, with.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody did a great job. I don't know that I wasn't actually on set. Yeah. It was very kind of like factory style, studio style, where I just kind of handed in the script, and then it was like a year and a half later they said, "Hey, you want to come to the premiere?" I was like, yeah, cool. So it was all very surprising. You know, I didn't really see how the sausage was made, so I just got to eat the sausage at the end. That's a weird metaphor.
Yeah, well, you know, sausage is good.
We talk a lot about eating sausage on this show, and Sean can eat sausage.
It's appropriate.
All day long. Okay. Yeah, that's, to me, I feel like that's kind of the best role of getting a movie made, you know, is turning in the script and then just being surprised. I think out of everyone, you know, a lot of times, you know, that's how it is with writers. Sometimes they'll bring in the writer and the writer is involved through the whole process. But to me, it just seems like it would be a blast to see what they came up with. I would almost be like kind of nervous, have this nervousness of did it work or not? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I was terribly nervous. And sometimes, and you know, there was, I would have to, it's been a year since I've seen it. I would have to go back and think, but I do remember the specific feeling that, like, when I came out, there was a lot of sort of exchanges and moments and images that when I was sitting by myself in my room typing them, I thought, like, oh, this is great. This is killer stuff. Good job making Gold Star. And then, you know, they didn't really change anything. They did they did a version of what I had written, and it just, like, the way it didn't work the way that I thought it would. And that's on me. I'm not putting that on them. I'm just saying that, like, the translation between what I have in my head and how it actually works in the context of a larger movie, it doesn't always land. And so there was some nervousness, and then you kind of have to own that. You're like, oh, I should have thought that through in a different way, or come up with a different way to sell that gag, or whatever it was. Yeah, there's definitely nerves for that kind of a surprise experience, not having seen any of the production or any of the decisions made on set. It's just kind of like, oops, I didn't quite nail that, did I?
Well, at least you weren't writing Prometheus, you know, something like that.
I don't know, man. I probably could have bought a car if I wrote Prometheus.
Well, I guess, yeah. Never mind. Bad example.
Well,
Is that a yawn? Are you getting bored, Brad?
No.
Jesus Christ!
I was leaning back and I leaned forward. You dick. No, I was just thinking. I was looking at pictures of Macon, actually. If you really want to know.
Oh God, don't do that, because you'll find those ones from Locarno with me and Jeremy back to back, like we're in a crime-fighting pilot, like a bunch of goofballs. You know the one I'm talking about. It's got a leopard print background. Anyways,
I'm actually looking at it right now.
I'm going to put that in the show notes when we enter, the little section, the guest section. That
was a good lesson we learned. We went to a film festival and they had these photographers and they want the photos to be dynamic and interesting, and they were go back to back and cross your arms and give me a big laugh like you've just, and we were like, that sounds goofy as shit, but we just kind of went along with what we were told, and we said, okay, who's going to see it? And then, of course, the very next day, like, the very first thing that comes up on Google search is that whole series of, like, us posing like cheese balls. So then
nice.
We were kind of like, in the future, we'll be a little more, like, how about we don't do that, but we just stand like regular-ass people and smile to the camera.
Now,
it's
for writing, like, how big of a fan were you of the original Monkey's Paw story, and how old were you when you first knew about it?
Oh God, I don't know, early grade school for sure, and it is one of that's I think the reason, or one of the reasons why they chose that particular one was because it is so universal. Everybody, I don't know, it's not like a required curriculum item, but it's something that everybody is just exposed to. It seems like in school, or like you said, around the campfire at camp or whatever. It's just one of those ones that stands up to repeated retelling. And honestly, I don't even know if I actually read the original until much later, because it's one of those ones that just sort of like the bones of it just get repeated. But the original one is really kind of sparse and not too much happens. It's all built around the sound of the guy knocking on the door and just sort of the parents looking at each other and realizing what that means. And it's tremendously effective. But I seem to remember versions that were much more like a guy coming into the house, or like you see his rotting face climb up out of the grave or something like that, where the sort of the results of the wishes were much more indulged upon. But I have no idea when it was. It was at a very young age. It feels very fundamental as far as just the sort of stories that you remember growing up to me. And I thought it was a good one to pick if you're going to try and make some sort of a modern adaptation.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's solid. It's not. It kind of has the movie itself. It has its ups and downs. I think it's front loaded. I think the beginning, I think, is its strength, and then the end. It kind of, if you've seen so many horror movies and stuff like that, it kind of goes into that territory. But and as far as Chiller TV, if this is it's kind of cool that they're doing this type of thing. I was never really that much, didn't really pay attention to, Chiller TV or anything like that. And, I think the cinematography, they treat this as a film as opposed to just a TV movie. You know what I mean? It doesn't really have a sense of a TV movie.
No.
Oh yeah. Well, that's,
you don't see that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, that's the director. They got a great, Brett's movie Husk was a lot of fun, and he's definitely he's a cinema director. Mm-hmm. If we're going to draw distinctions between that and just sort of like a TV director, but I mean, I think that's the reason why they picked him, is because he makes cool movies, and I don't think they wanted this to be just thought of as a TV story. I think they wanted it to be a movie that happened to subsequently play on TV. I mean, it did go around to theaters initially, and then just sort of the aftermath of that was broadcast on television. But the approach was definitely to make a movie. Although there was also the sort of expectation that certain act breaks needed to be built in for commercials. So that was also one of the challenges, was trying to make it feel like it had an organic kind of flow and some kind of forward momentum, and without having to break every 8 minutes for a commercial. And if that did or did not work, then, you know.
I didn't notice it. And like, that's the one thing, that's what I mean about TV movie. Like, you normally notice that kind of stuff. And this one, and even in, like we talked about, gosh, I don't know how many episodes ago, but we talked about Beneath, like that movie flowed as well, you know, and I think that's really cool that they do that. And then, you know, and they didn't shy away from gore and stuff like that, you know.
Totally, yeah. I mean, it was interesting. There was more sort of, it was a big education for me, and I don't know, but at any rate, there was, I think, a little bit more concern about bad language than there was about gore. Like gore was given a little bit more of a free rein than the F word was. I hope I'm not telling tales out of school, but that was interesting to me. It was just sort of like it's just an interesting idea about like what people are comfortable with. Like a guy getting his head smashed in a industrial compressor, that's cool. Don't say fuck though.
Yeah, there was a couple really, really good gore scenes in there, and I was actually, you know, because I knew, of course, it's a TV made for TV movie kind of, and but it didn't feel like that even starting out. But I knew it was, so I kept expecting things or not expecting things, and every once in a while, like something would happen, like, you know, maybe a head splitting open.
Yeah,
the head splits open. I'm like, what? Really? Well, that's badass.
Yeah, you know? they did a. I don't know off the top of my head who their effects team was, but whoever it was did a great job. I like that they didn't go straight down the digital route. They kind of did the practical effects as much as possible, and then supplemented that with some digital stuff. But that's, you know, I think you guys would agree that's always the way to go.
Totally.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I guess that's even surprised me more, is that it was practical. And I was expecting, because I was like, okay, when the gore scenes happen, we're just going to have CGI blood fly everywhere.
Of course.
But that wasn't the case at all. And so I dug the whole mostly practical side, of course.
Yeah. Well, we're going to start wrapping up here. We're running out of time with Macon here, but there's not a lot to tell discuss as far as the special features go on this. The behind the scenes thing is just a standard kind of EPK, and I wasn't really, you know, that into it. But there is a full length commentary here with Brett Simmons, and then also the cinematographer Scott Winnig and CJ Thomason. So they have a lot of good information on there. You know, it's no John Carpenter audio commentary, but
what is?
But you know, it's good that they got a chance to talk about the making of the movie, because I was a bit disappointed with the behind the scenes little EPK. But
those are hard though. Those that's like a whole other movie. And
exactly,
if that's not a budget item in the beginning, then it's and I'm only saying this because we just learned this the hard way ourselves. If that is not built into the original budget, it's very difficult and time consuming to come up with you know, the real meaty sort of special features. It's like it's basically making a whole brand new second movie.
No pressure making, but the Blue Ruin documentary better be amazing if I'm going to drop some money on this thing.
Let's stop short of amazing. Let's say pretty neat. I mean, basically,
I'm just kidding, man.
No, we just we could not afford any on-set videographer, so it's all a bunch of interviews and photographs and heart-tugging music edited together skillfully to make you think that we actually had behind-the-scenes footage, but we didn't.
Cool. Brad, did you have anything else to say about this disc before we move on? I want to give Macon a chance to let us know what he's working on next.
I mean, for the most part, I mean, it's just it's a standard release. It's also cheap, which is a plus for some of these contemporary releases, because it's harder to, dish out the newer films and the older films, because, of course, there's no name for them yet.
Yeah.
But, if you're going to start digging into contemporary releases from Scream Factory, think Monkey's Paw is definitely your best way to start. So.
Yeah, I think so. I think so far this is their strongest. Like I said, I haven't seen Cockneys vs. Zombies, but that's more of a comedy. But as far as if you're looking for kind of more of a straight horror type movie, like give the Monkey's Paw a shot for sure. And if you can rent it, give it a rent first. I'm not sure how if you can find a bunch of Scream Factory flicks for rent. I'm not sure, but if you have the opportunity
yeah, all that stuff is streaming on digital.
Okay,
sure. It's like $2.99 to stream digitally or something.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely worth it. I mean, for Stephen Lang's performance alone, I think this is worth $2.99. I mean, come on,
yeah,
the guy's an animal.
Stephen Lang is $5.99, man. He is amazing.
I would want to just have coffee with him and just listen to him talk. But he's probably one of those guys, though. In person, he's probably very quiet until the camera's rolling.
He's got to save it up.
Does. Well, that's going to do it for us chatting about the Monkey's Paw. I think they definitely would recommend it. Macon, I wanted to give you a chance before we take off here to let people know, like, kind of what you're working on currently, what that you can talk about, and if there's anything that you can plug. Now's your chance to do so.
I think the big plug would be the Blue Ruin DVD release in July, which we've already covered ad nauseum. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm just working on a bunch of scripts and going on auditions right now. Jeremy's got a new movie he's in pre-production on called Green Room, which is
the punks or whatever I read about.
Yeah, dude, it's like Straw Dogs but with punk rockers, and it is
cool.
It's it's really intense, and it's gonna make Blue Ruin look like an ice cream sandwich, and so I'm kind of helping him with that as just sort of like a, I don't know, helper producer or something like that. So that's sort of what we're doing right now. And then just sort of, writing scripts, developing future projects, but I don't have anything concrete to announce at the moment other than the Blue Ruin DVD release. But
cool.
as soon as we have something to talk about, I'd be happy to talk about it with you gents.
All right. Well, if I don't see you up for Best Actor in the Oscars this year, I'm not going to watch the Oscars. That's all I got to say.
Okay, well then you won't watch the Oscars.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a hell of a performance, Macon, and just for me, just coming off seeing that movie is really great to talk to you. So,
thank you guys. I had a great time. I really appreciate all the kind words, and it was nice talking with you.
I want to thank all of you for listening. You can find us on Twitter, Scream_cast, and you can find all these shows over at thescreamcast.com, and of course on iTunes, and I guess Stitcher if that's still a thing. Macon, you're at Macon Blair, all one word on Twitter. Correct?
That is me, at Macon Blair.
All right. And Brad Henderson doesn't want me to let you know where he's at on Twitter, but you can find him.
Yes, you can find him.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. The party's just begun.
People say that you can't gold plate a turd or whatever.
Never heard that.
I can turn shit into gold, people. I make Brad sound the way he does.
Wow. Our musical guest today is going to be a band which you might know the name. Actually, let me start over.
Hey, Brad, can you turn up your volume a little bit at all, or no?
Oh, yeah. Is this good enough for you?
Oh, yes.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, yes.
That's a sweet spot right there.